so today we're going to be just looking at assignment 9. And this one was about collection storage and collection organization. That was the topic for the webinar, and I'm just going to share my screen. It works. Okay, I hope it's showing. So for this assignment, there were 2 options to do, and you only need to do one of them. If you do 2 of them, you probably will get a few bonus points. You do both option 1 and 2, but it's not critical. So the first option was an assessment of the current storage for a collection. So this was to select a particular collection and to go and have a look at how it's stored. And it covers the storage structures, but also the consumables, and to check whether they meet the standard that's set in the manual. And the importance of this is, I mean, the storage, we said that storage, the way collections are stored is really critical to protecting them from unnecessary damage or deterioration. And so obviously you need to first look at how things are before knowing whether you're meeting the standard and what needs to be done. So this assessment would really allow anybody who's responsible for a collection to know where the weaknesses are and what needs attention and what needs to be upgraded. Some of the challenges or the problems might not be within the collection manager's control, but they can be pushed up to higher levels within the institution. So it really is an important part of looking after a collection, is to have this kind of assessment. So we did provide a template in Excel, and it's organized according to the 10 agents of deterioration and the 5 layers of enclosure. And that's important because it means that you work through things systematically. You don't just start from nowhere and try and figure out everything. It's a very structured way of looking at the collection. So for this first option, you have to complete that template. That's all you have to do, is to complete the template, but then also to use color coding to show which storage equipment or consumables meet the standards and which ones don't meet the standards. So that makes it easy to have a quick look through and see what needs to be done. So there is some information on the template that summarizes the standards, so it asks questions, but if you want to put more detail in, you can go to the manual and have a look, and there might be more detail there that will help you. So that's the first option. So how many people have done this option? Nobody? You can put your hand up if you've answered this, if you've done this assignment and picked this option. So Rendani's done it, Sonele Siwe's done it. Even if you've just made a start on it. So they have, Cameron's done it for the Council for Geoscience. Okay, so there are a couple of people. Andrea's done it. Okay, great. All right, so we'll get your input in a minute and see how you've managed with it and if you've had any challenges. So I just did a quick example just to show you the kind of thing. I'm hoping that my screen is sharing. So this is the Excel spreadsheet. It's available on the website and it was distributed as well. So just to put in the collection, the institution name, the collection name, and then what kind of a collection is it? Is it a collection of fossils? Is it a herbarium collection? Here I just made up a collection. I said it's a wet collection with individual specimens and specimen lots. And it includes spiders and scorpions and mites, and millipedes and centipedes, and terrestrial crustaceans. And I'm the person who's done this assessment. And then across the top, it's got the headings, so the 10 agents of deterioration, and they listed down that column. The standards, so these are just some guidelines to check against, and then it's the 5 layers of enclosure. So I think the important thing is that not all of these layers of enclosure are relevant to each of the agents of deterioration or destruction. And then you can just put in not applicable. So relative humidity, you're not going to worry about it at a building level. You're not going to worry about it at a container level usually. You know, or your shelving or cabinets, maybe cabinets. But for this particular collection, it's really about controlling humidity at the storeroom level. And the same with temperature. Most of your temperature control is at the storeroom level. So then you can just put not applicable. So what you need to really do here is to fill in everything that you can about what it says in the standards and how that applies to your building. So what's the current condition of the building? And here I put the roof has a few leaks. There's some places where there's grass growing in the gutters, and that causes accumulation of water outside the building after storms. But that's not really related to physical forces. That's really, and that should be taken down to water. Let's do that. So you've got to think quite carefully about where you put different things. So the building, if there's nothing, there's no risk of physical damage from the building, then you can just say the construction is sound. If you have parts of the building that could fall, collapse, ceilings falling, major cracks in the structure of the building, then it could be a problem. So again, the storeroom, I've put in information that probably would be better somewhere else. So patches of damp around the walls, that's not physical, that's probably to do with relative humidity, and so it should go down under that section. But here, there's no risk of breaking specimens because you've got people sitting in there, working in there every day, and people in and out and carrying things around. So think about the relevance, and I think that's the tricky thing with this, completing this template, is making sure that the information is in the right place. And what you can see here is that it meets the standard. I've coded it in green, and where it doesn't, I've colored it red. So the kinds of things, so the shelving, you know, for a wet collection, the shelves should have a barrier, or any collection actually where specimens are stored on open shelves, there should be a barrier. You know, that's to prevent falling off, which is the physical force, physical damage, breakage. If they're overcrowded, if the specimens or the bottles are overcrowded on the shelf, again, there's a risk of breaking or damaging those specimens. And then having things sitting on the floor and off of a shelf or cabinet is also a risk. And then the containers, if your specimens are in containers, then they're probably fine, but it should be the right kind of containers. And then there's also the lining or packaging for a wet collection, that's not important. So just make sure that you put things into the right place. I think, check through all of the standards that are there and if there's anything else. So for relative humidity, it should be stable, it should be set at a particular level. There should be a humidity recording system and there should be a ventilation system. And so you answer all of that. And it's only relevant at the level of the storeroom. And some of, under one in one block, you can have some that's red, some that's green, and some that isn't really red or green. So here I said there's no blinds or curtains on windows, on 3 large windows. So I put in detail so that it will help. The light is kept off when the storeroom is unoccupied. That's good. Then I say only a small amount of sunlight comes through the windows during the day. But that's not good or bad. If you don't have them blocked, then it's material. Okay, the other important thing is to put in details as far as possible, just to give you a sense of the scale of what needs to be addressed. So for the pollutants for wet collections, plastic leaches out, and so it really is important that you have glass jars, and I've said that we've got glass jars for 60% of the collection, and they've all got the appropriate lids, but then I say 40%, and I've put in about how many, 3,000 jars are still plastic, and they, you could even count approximately how many of different sizes, because that will help you with your budgeting and to know what you need to invest in. So if you just say we've got glass jars and some plastic jars, it doesn't help you when it comes to addressing the problem. So have details as much as possible, even if it's approximate. Sometimes it's difficult to know whether something is okay or not okay. So for access control, I said the storeroom has a standard lock and key system, and it's kept locked when it's not being used, and the key is kept by the collection manager. So the manual says electronic or manual lock, it must have for the building and for the storeroom, so it's fine, it's actually fine. It could probably go green if it's a solid lock. And how do you determine that? You'd have to check the door and the lock. Is it secure? Could somebody pick that lock very easily or not? Okay, so that's what that will look like, as much detail as possible, making sure that everything where it's relevant is completed, and saying where something's not applicable, and being as specific as possible. Okay, let's see from any of the people who've done this this assignment, how you've found it, whether you've had any problems, if it was an easy assignment. Andrea?
Okay.
Yes,
no, I think this was quite a simple one for Kirsten and I. I just see that I've now looked at them again because we've actually submitted them, but we can just edit them to add the details as you've mentioned, with how many glass jars, how many plastic jars. So those kind of details we can still add. But I think the rest of our assignment is pretty accurate.
Okay, great. Yeah, so that might be a question that other people have, like they've submitted the assignment already, but now they want to go back and make changes after the tutorials. You can do that. So you just got to make sure that we have a system of knowing when people have resubmitted, so that we don't end up assessing the old version. We must figure that out and just let everyone know how to do it. But you can do that. So you can resubmit.
Okay, thanks. Will do.
An updated version. Okay, thanks for that, Andrea. So Nelisi, when you've done this one, how did it go?
Morning, everyone. I would say it went very well. Ours was also quite detailed. Actually looking at it right now. Sorry, where is it? I don't know. Are we to share like yesterday?
You can if you like. So people are welcome to share their assignments.
Okay. I see there's Manoli and Winston here as well from the team. If they'd like to add more points, I'd be very grateful. Okay. So can you see my screen?
See?
Good. So like you said, different colors to note. Yeah. So for example, our building is constructed on a slope on the barrier red sands, which isn't steady enough, and there's been structural damage as a result. We put that in. We've put stuff in here on the storeroom as well. We've put in definitely that there's a shortage of space to accommodate new additions to the collection, which is why having bigger building is essential. Yeah. And over here at the end, when handling specimens, try to minimize bending the specimen, which could lead to breakage of the specimen. You know, never lean on the specimen. That's for the lining and packaging, right? But yeah, we managed to put in like a heck of a lot of stuff. I'm sure you can see. This was a quite detailed handing. Yeah.
Okay, that looks
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I mean, you've had a thorough assessment of everything there. I mean, you can see that there's the detail. And did you include things like, I don't know if there's any numbers needed in your assessment, but did you do any sort of counts of anything?
Like counting how many specimens we have or something, like counting stuff maybe that we need.
So let me just see. You know, so if you say something like we're short of cabinets, you say approximately how many cabinets, or if maybe you don't.
Excuse me, I don't think we did that. I know that we counted how many we have. So for example, the collection is currently filed in 24 large wooden cabinets, and it has 26 shelves and so forth. So that would obviously inform now how many we would need to replace, you know, when we move from wooden to metal.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You see, you have a lot of. Okay, so the only thing I would say, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, sure, you've covered a lot. Okay, that looks great.
Okay, I'll stop sharing now.
Anybody up in that group want to add anything? It looks like you've really put in a lot of work there. Winston or Manoli?
Hi, Michelle. Hi, everyone. Yes, with regard to counting, we definitely did count things like the number of windows and the number of windows that were covered. So we went around the whole herbarium counting the number of windows, and we found that not all the windows were covered. So some windows had brown paper covering, but not all of them. So we made a note of which ones need to be covered with either blinds or brown paper. And we also counted the number of air cons, and we made a note of which ones are working and which ones need servicing. Thank you.
Okay, great. Cool. You guys really did do it thoroughly, which is great. Okay, so Cameron, Council for Geoscience, how did it go with yours?
Hi guys, this is Louis. The three of us from the CGS were working on this together, and Cam just had to step out for a quick moment. Yes, no, it also went quite well. I think it was a nice, straightforward assignment. Yes, we haven't done the intense counting that everyone else has had. So this is a good opportunity for us to actually pick up where we can improve on this assignment, which we will now do. But yes, overall, I don't think we had too many issues. We have a pretty straightforward collection storehouse. Yeah, no, I think it overall went well. It would just be to add just a tiny bit more detail to these things before submitting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Louis. Okay, anybody else want to give some input on this assignment, this option? So it sounds like it's not too challenging, it just means working through things. And I think it's really good if you do go and actually look in the collection. It'll serve your institution very well to do it. Okay, so it doesn't seem like there are any major problems with that one. Has anybody done the second option? No.
We did the second option.
Okay.
Yeah. But we
that?
didn't do the counting, we just listed.
Yeah, okay, so I'm sharing screen. All right, thanks, Jermaine. So we'll have a look and see how important it is. So the second option is a description of the organization of a collection. So this topic also covered not only how things are stored, but also how they're organized. And that's in the building. So you only have the whole collection in one building. I do know that some collections are actually scattered across buildings and even different sites. And then rooms, I think this quite often happens, that a collection might be split across different rooms because one room is full and then you have to find another room. And then if it is split across different rooms, is there a system? So have you put all the one group in one room and all another group in another room, or is it just expanded? And then the shelving and cabinets, how are they arranged and how are they numbered? And then how are the specimens arranged? If it's a hierarchical taxonomic system, what is the source of the taxonomy? And then how are specimens arranged within a species? So is it just by number or not arranged? And then where do you put the unidentified specimens? And what we said was that you can include layout drawings, and you can do a drawing to show the layouts. You can have a taxon table, so showing the taxonomy, the hierarchical system, and then explaining anything else that which would explain to others how the collection is organized. And you should actually have this for your collection. So even if you don't do it for the assignment, you should have something like this for your collection. It doesn't matter how you present it. I just said that it could be I just thought maybe a table would be a useful way. And I thought that, there's two sort of different things. There's the numbering system. So how do you number it? But then how is it organized? Those are two sort of different things. So, filling it in like this. And I think this is where the specifics come in. There's a single building for the museum. I just made this up. It's got 3 levels or floors. All the collections are on the ground and first floor, and offices on the second floor. So that's the kind of level of detail. And then the entire collection is in a single storeroom. There's a separate preparation room for incoming specimens. And the organization, so what's in that storeroom, it's only wet specimens of terrestrial arthropoda. Or you could say it's only Karoo fossils, or it's only finned Coleoptera specimens. And then the shelving, so what how are your shelves or your cabinets arranged? So, or what have you got? So I just said something like this. There are shelves along 3 walls and 8 rows of shelves in the center of the storeroom. And each shelf row has 4 shelves. And then how are they numbered? So I gave this kind of detail. So each shelf row is numbered from 1 to 11. So remember I said there's 3 walls and 8 rows. And then each shelf is numbered from 1, preceded by the shelf row number. So 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And you could say here that the numbering, each shelf has actually got a label stuck onto it with the numbering system. That's the numbering system, but then how are those shelves, how are the specimens arranged on those shelves? So I just said it's organized according to subphylum. So we've got arachnids, crustaceans, insects, myriapods, and then by order within each of those, within the order, alphabetically by genus and alphabetically by species. I didn't say, and I should say, within a species, how are they organized? And it might be according to catalog number, or province, or country, or whatever. How do you organize it within a species? And then I just said unidentified specimens are kept separately at the end of the particular subphylum. And I said the taxonomic system used is an old one that we've always used for the collection. Where do you get the information about the taxonomy? I think a lot of collections do just use the one that they've traditionally used. I know some of the herbaria changed their whole organization from APG 3 to APG 4 or something. Okay, and then the jars. So how are your jars is there some other level of organization? So here we've got jars with multiple small specimens in polytop bottles inside them, and we've said that we put the catalog numbers of all specimens on a label inside the large container. That's a numbering, help you to find, because the whole thing with this is how do you find specimens in here, in this collection. And then I just said the jars are labeled on the outside with dymo tape with the genus and species name, and this allows them to easily be organized. So this whole thing is about organization. So how do you organize your collection? And as much information as you can give will be helpful. Okay. So Jermaine, how did your assignment go for this one?
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm still busy with that. I'm trying to get information on how the our cabinets are organized in terms of numbers. How are they numbered? But so far, it's good. I'm not having major problems. I just need specific information. Yeah, I think I'm getting there.
Okay. And which collection are you looking at?
I'm working with entomology collection, so it's just gonna be entomology alone. But then our storage area includes other collections like the mites and everything. But then for this assignment, I will just narrow down for what I'm working with.
Okay. Yeah, and then in your assignment, you will say so the storage area has multiple collections.
Yes.
Some are wet, some are dry, and then
Yes.
and then the entomology collection may be confined to one part of that bigger storeroom.
Yes. I will try to include everything. Yeah, we currently having one storage for everything, so I just need to put all the details. How is everything organized, and where is the where do we put the dry specimens, and where do we get to put the our core specimens, just to, you know, highlight the organization of everything.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that's a little bit more complicated when you've got multiple collections in one storage area.
Mhm.
Make it clear that that's the situation, but you're focusing only on the entomology, and say whether it's the wet and dry entomology, just the dry entomology. Right. Okay, so nobody else has attempted this second part. It may be a little bit more challenging than the first option. But again, like I said, I think it's something that every collection should have, or all your, you know, you do it for the whole institution's collections.
Michelle?
Yes.
I just want to ask you, with the building, do you want us to, I just want to go back into, because ours is partitioned into like with other collections, and then also, do you want me to like put the details in terms of which one is closer to ours, like for an example, the mites and everything, and I just want to put forth the risk. Maybe other collections might be a risk to ours in terms of the building. Maybe you don't want me to go into details in terms of what is close to ours. Oh, okay.
No. So, I mean, the thing is that this is not about risks. This is just about organization, and the issue of organization is being able to find things. So, you know, if anyone comes and they need to work in the collection and find things, when the auditors come and they want to find things, it's very important that you can say, here's how it's organized. These are all in this room. Those are all in that room. These are all on that shelf. And then also when you have new staff working in there and they need to integrate new accessions, if there's no guide or no plan to tell you where to put things, and it's very difficult. And that's how specimens get jumbled up and lost, and it becomes a mess in the collection. But it's not to look at risk. So that's a different, a whole different aspect. This is really about the storage and organization.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Finding. Okay, I see that there was a message from Nikisha. She says she's traveling, so she can't speak. She's also done option 2. So she used the color-coded key and layout of the building to show the different storage areas and how each collection type is stored and arranged. Okay, that's great, Nikisha. So, did you do both? You must have done both, I think. But that's great. So the people who were not at the tutorial yesterday, so yesterday we were talking about how the assessment will be done, and Hulu's put that information up on the web. But there are bonus points for extra assignments done. So what we'll do is we'll mark them all, but we'll take the 10 top marks. If you end up with like 14, 15 assignments that you've completed, they'll all count, but we'll only take the top scores for the top 10. And then there are bonus points for additional assignments completed. So we'll probably, you could probably score a maximum of 10 extra bonus points for doing additional assignments. So that effort will help your institution, but it will also help you score some more points. So certainly not a waste of time, Nikisha. Great. Okay, anybody else have any comments or questions about this assignment? Okay, for the people who weren't here yesterday, I think also just check the deadlines in that document that's on the website. So you can submit your drafts. If you want comment, if you want input, you can submit your drafts, but just check. So there is a deadline for assignments 8, 9, and 10. your draft. It's in December, I think it's the 10th. And then the deadline for assignment 11, 12, 13, 14 draft is the 15th of January. So you've got quite a bit of time, and I'm glad to see that people are keeping up. So Fulu's just reminded us that 10th of December is the deadline for submission of drafts of assignment 8 to 10. If you want feedback, you don't have to submit a draft for feedback. If you're happy and you're confident, then you don't have to do that. It's only if you want that feedback. And then the next set of assignments, the deadline is the 15th of January. And then the deadline for everything to be finalized and submitted is the 28th of February. So you have got some time to work on things and add details and improve if you need to do that. Okay, so if there's nothing else, then I can actually close the tutorial. It seems like it's simple, unless we only have the people at the tutorial who are coping very well with everything. So our next tutorial is on Monday, and it'll be assignment 10, which is caring for wet collections. So some of you might have, if you don't have a wet collection, if your whole collection is a dry collection, then obviously you won't have done assignment 10. So Monday, 2 o'clock until 3:30, that's assignment 10. So we'll put that up. Okay, so if there's nothing else from your side, I don't have any other comments. I think I've highlighted the main points for both assignments, and then we can close. Okay, thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.